fifth grade, welcome back to Grammar. This video is for April 30th. Today we're going to do a couple of chapter 13 review pages to help you get ready for a test coming up next week. But before we do that, I want to share some verses with you from Psalm 27. This is a psalm that David wrote, and it's a psalm where he talks about having difficulties and trials, but also having confidence in the Lord through them. So in verse 13 it says, I believe that I shall look upon the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. So David has confidence that God will see him through whatever situation he's going through at that time. And we know that David did go through a lot of difficulties, especially when he was in the wilderness running away from Saul. But he knows that God is going to bring him through those, and he's going to ultimately be king over Israel as God had promised. And when he says wait for the Lord, he's not talking about just sitting there and twiddling our thumbs and not doing anything, but he's saying wait with confidence and depend on the Lord. Trust in him that he will bring us through whatever the situation might be. He tells us to let our hearts take courage and wait on the Lord. So I hope that's an encouragement to you today. All right, I wanted to look at adjectives and adverbs before we go on with the workbook page. I just want to do a quick review of those. Remember, adjectives describe nouns and pronouns, and they answer the questions which one or what kind. And so if you said, green grass, what kind of grass? Green grass. The tall boy, which one? The tall one. So there are three kinds of special adjectives. Remember, articles are a, an, and the. Those three small words are adjectives. A door, an apple, the dog. Demonstratives, remember, are adjectives that point out things. This, that, these, and those. It's always easy to remember them. They all start with the letters TH. And then remember, proper adjectives are formed from a proper noun, and they're always capitalized. I live in America. I am an American. And then adverbs, remember, describe verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. They have to work a little harder. They have three jobs to do. And they answer the questions how, when, or where. He ran quickly. How did he run? Quickly. She left early. When did she leave? Early. We played outside. Where did we play? Outside. And then remember, our clue that we have is that they often end in the letters ly. Not always, but often. So just letting you know that there is a chapter 13 test on Monday, and I need you to take the test that day so that I can get it graded and averaged in with your other grades. Mr. Poole and I will be sending grade reports home next week. On May 6th, when your new packet goes home, you'll have your new grade slip. And so we want to get all of your grades in there and average so that you'll have an up-to-date assessment of how you're doing. So let's go ahead and go on to our chapter 13 review, page 247 and 248. So take out your books and open it up to those pages, please. Okay, we're on chapter 13 review, page 247. Let's take a look at the directions for part A. They want you to underline all the adjectives, including articles, demonstratives, and proper adjectives, and then draw an arrow to the noun that each adjective describes. So remember, we just went over this, but if it helps you, you can write it on your paper. Articles are those small words, a, there we go, an, and the. And then demonstratives, remember, this, that, these, and those. So we have to look for all adjectives, and then proper adjectives, remember, are formed from proper nouns. So sentence number 1, helium balloons travel in atmospheric layers to monitor the weather. Okay, so here's a weather balloon right here in that picture. So first of all, let's look for nouns, and then we can find any adjectives that are describing the nouns. And if it helps you, go ahead and mark up the sentence. So if we look through the sentence, we see our subject is what? Balloons, right? So balloons is a noun. Any other nouns here? Layers is a noun, it's a thing. And weather is a noun, it's a thing. Okay, so now that we know what the nouns are in the sentence, let's look for adjectives that describe those nouns. So ask yourself the questions, which one, what kind? So what kind of balloons? They're helium balloons, right? So we're going to underline helium and draw an arrow to balloons. What kind of layers? Atmospheric layers, right. So we're going to underline atmospheric and draw the arrow to layers. And then anything describing weather? Yep, the article the weather. So helium balloons, atmospheric layers, the weather. All right, let's look at sentence number 2. Some planes are useful for getting information about about current conditions. Okay, again, let's look for nouns. So what's the subject of the sentence? What is the sentence talking about? It's talking about planes, right? So that's the subject. It's a noun. What other nouns do you see? Right, conditions is a noun. Okay, good. All right, let's see if we have any adjectives describing these. So, which planes? Some planes, right. And what kind of conditions? Current conditions. Okay, very good. I'm going to leave number 3 for you to do on your own, and then next time we'll check the ones that you did on your own as well. Okay, so letter B, next section, you're going to do number 3 on your own. So letter B, they want you to underline the adverbs in each sentence and then draw an arrow to the word each adverb describes. Okay, so let's take a look. This might take a little bit more marking up, because remember that adjectives describe verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Okay, and they're going to tell us how, when, or where. How, when, or where. All right, number 4. Special buoys carefully record ocean conditions. So you've probably seen buoys out in the water before when you've been to the beach. So we look and we see, okay, buoys is what the sentence is about. So that's the noun. That's a noun. That's the subject. What do the buoys do? The buoys record. Right. Now we're going to look to see if there is an adverb describing the verb record. How do the buoys record? When do they record? Where do they record? Yes, they carefully record. So that tells us how. So carefully is an adverb describing the verb record. Okay, number 5. Suddenly the winds blew the waves westward. Okay, so what is our sentence about? Right, it's about the winds. That's the subject. It's a noun. What did the winds do? They blew. Right, you know, it'd probably be better if I put S for subject. Go back and change that. Okay, so the winds blew. All right, and so we're going to ask ourselves the questions. How did they blow? When did they blow? Where did they blow? Do you see anything there? Okay, hopefully you caught it. Suddenly tells when, right? And it ends in ly, so that's our clue. So they suddenly blew. And then there's another adverb. Look to see if you can find it. Okay, I hope you caught it. Westward. Excuse me. It tells us where. Where did they blow? They blew westward. So we have one adverb that comes before the verb and one adverb that comes after the verb. Adverbs are tricky sometimes, aren't they? Okay, I'm going to leave you to do number 6 on your own. God brought Uncle Marvin and his family home safely. Okay, so mark the subject and then look for the verb and then look to see if there are any words that tell you how, when, or where. We'll check that one tomorrow. Okay, let's go on to part C. And they want us to label the sentence patterns, SV for subject verb, SVDO for subject verb direct object, or SLVPA for subject linking verb predicate adjective. And then they want us to diagram the sentence. Okay, so first of all, we look at number 7. Meteorologists constantly record the temperatures. Okay, what is the subject here? Who or what is the sentence about? Yes, it's about meteorologists. I'm assuming you're all saying the same thing with me. Okay, what do the meteorologists do? They record. Okay, so we have subject verb. So remember, if there's an action verb, I don't know why I'm doing this in pencil. Let me go back and do it in pen. If there's an action verb, we need to look for a direct object. Meteorologists record what? Yes, they record temperatures. So that's the direct object. So we have a subject, a verb, and a direct object. Now we need to look for any adjectives or adverbs. There's nothing describing the meteorologists. It doesn't say 5 meteorologists or, tall meteorologists. It doesn't say anything like that. So we don't have anything describing the subject. Do we have anything describing the verb, record? Yes, constantly is an adverb, isn't it? When do they record? They constantly record. Or how do they record? Constantly. Okay, so we know that's an adverb. We can even write that in if you want. They didn't ask us to do this part, but it's really helpful when we get to diagramming it. And then anything describing temperatures. Yep, one of those little adjectives. The article the. So the is an adjective describing temperatures. Okay, so now we know where all the words should go in the diagram. So we start with the subject, meteorologists. It goes on the left side of the line. A long word to spell. Then we draw a vertical line, and the verb record goes on the right side of that. And then we have the direct object temperatures, so that's another vertical line, but remember it doesn't cross the horizontal line. And temperatures goes on the right side of that. Meteorologists record temperatures. Then we can put the adverbs and adjectives under the words that they describe. So constantly is an adverb describing record. Turn the paper here a little bit. So it goes below record. And then the is an adjective describing temperatures. There we go. We have all the words accounted for. Good job. Okay, number 8. Those anemometers measure wind speed often. Okay, so let's find the subject. What is our sentence about? It's about anemometers, which is a weather instrument. So that's our subject. What do the anemometers do? Yeah, they measure. Okay, so again, we have an action verb, so we need to look for a direct object. Anemometers measure what? They measure speed. All right. That's the direct object. Okay. Now we can look at the other words and see what job they're doing. So those anemometers. Those, remember, is one of our demonstrative adjectives. So those is an adjective describing the noun anemometers. So we can even put ADJ here if you want. And then wind is describing speed. And then often, do you know what that's doing? Yeah, often is an adverb describing measure. It answers the question when. When do they measure? They measure often. So even though it's way down here at the end of the sentence, remember, adverbs can come before or after the verb that they're describing. Okay, now we know where all the words go. So we start with the subject, anemometers, and then draw a vertical line, and then put the verb on the right side, measure, and then the direct object, speed. Okay, and then we need to diagram the adjectives and adverbs. So those describes anemometers. And remember, if it's capitalized in the sentence, you should capitalize it when you write it in the diagram. And then wind describes speed. What kind of speed? Wind speed. And then often describes measure. When do they measure? They measure often. Okay, good job. All right, I'm going to leave the last sentence for you and just take it step by step. Look for the subject. Ask yourself who or what is the sentence about. Look for the verb. Is it action? Is it linking? If it's action, look for a direct object. If it's linking, look for a predicate adjective. And then look for any other adjectives or adverbs. We'll check this one next time. Okay, let's move on. Letter D, they want us to write the ER and EST forms of the adjectives. So number 10, fluffy. The cotton candy is very fluffy. Okay, so we're going to add ER. So remember, you need to change the Y to I before you add ER. So it's going to be fluffier. My cotton candy is fluffier than your cotton candy. And then we're going to add EST. Again, change the Y to I. This is the fluffiest cotton candy I have ever eaten. I hope I'm not making you hungry for cotton candy. Okay, next we have calm. The C is very calm. We're going to add ER. We don't need to make any spelling change. The C is calmer today than it was yesterday. And then EST, the C is the calmest it has been all week. All right, I'm going to leave number 12 and 13 for you to do on your own, and then we'll check those next time. Letter E, they want you to underline the correct adjective or adverb. So number 14, a northerly breeze often results in cooler, coolest temperatures than a southerly breeze. Okay, so we're comparing two things. We're comparing a northerly breeze to a southerly breeze. So remember, we just use ER when we're comparing two things. Cooler than a southerly breeze. Number 15, our local weather station has the more accurate, most accurate forecast in our state. So the local weather station is being compared to all the weather stations in the state, not just one other station. And so it would be most accurate, has the most accurate weather. Okay, I'm going to leave 16 through 20 for you to do on your own. You can finish those up and we'll check those together next time. And then the last part, this is the tricky part that we've been working on these last couple of days. They want us to circle the conjunction in each sentence and then underline the words joined by the conjunctions. And then write in the blank what is being connected. Is it two sentences, two subjects, two predicates, two adjectives, two direct objects, two adverbs, or a series of words? Okay, number 21, forecasters use balloons, radar, and buoys. Okay, so the connecting word here is, yep, and what is it connecting? It's connecting balloons, radars, and buoys. So this would be a list, right? It's a series. Okay, good. A series of words. And I know it's kind of tricky to figure that out, but if you just kind of eliminate all the other choices, we're not connecting two sentences, we're not connecting two subjects or two predicates, we just have a list here. All right, next one, number 22. You need nails and wood for a weather vane. Okay, the connecting word here, the conjunction is and it's connecting two words, nails and wood. Okay, so if we look at this sentence, we see the subject is you and the verb is need. You need. Okay, so we've got an action verb here, so we need to look for a direct object. You need what? You need nails. You need wood. All right, so we're connecting two direct objects. Number 23, the windy storm blew fiercely, but it didn't destroy the town. Okay, the connecting word here is but. And what is it connecting? Well, if we take that word out, we've got two separate sentences, right? Because we have the subject-verb pattern. Storm blew, it did destroy. Remember, we don't count an apostrophe T as part of the verb because not is not a verb. So we could say the windy storm blew fiercely, period. It didn't destroy the town, period. So it's connecting two sentences. All right, I'm going to leave numbers 24 and 25 for you to finish on your own, and we'll check those next time. So go back and do all of the ones that we didn't do together, and we'll check that in our next video. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for working hard on grammar. You're doing a great job.